space ground segment. So back to Ian's question, that'd be the kind of group I'd probably want to partner with.
Super.
Space, space ops and ground segment, beautiful. All right. And as soon as we're up.
Terrific. While that's lighting up, so Keith Rosario, Singuland Space, I'm the founder of Singuland Space, a startup. First, I wanted to start by commending Andrew for the event, and thank you for that. It's a terrific event, and it really looks like we've got a fantastic eco-community building here, and a real sense of dynamics and excitement as well. Also want to congratulate the people in the room who have been involved with the programs for putting the CubeSats up. Congratulations, it's tremendous, and I think really something that everyone should be proud of. My presentation is probably going to be the only one with a challenge and a prize, and I'm also conscious that we're heading towards lunch too. So let's kick off. So I want to talk to you today about Singuland Space and Australian new space, and particularly looking at small-sat ground segment as a service. So ground segment as a service, ultimately it's about the data. So whether you're running a science mission, doing comms, you're interested in the bus itself and boards on board the bus, ultimately it's about the data. So your satellite, your data. Ground segment is your satellite's lifeline. So without the ground segment, I guess we could say the satellite kind of more approximates something like orbital debris or space junk, right? So it's the critical tether with your mission. As a service, as a model, it's been around for a few years now, so software as a service, infrastructure as a service. So we're talking about ground segment as a service. And this model makes sense for certain aspects of your mission. So as a service provides flexibility and responsiveness and allows you to concentrate on your activities and your mission. So the analogy is kind of like the financial sector. Banks don't spend a whole heap of money putting in their own routers and switches to move their data around the globe. They take that up as an assured service. And that's really what Singuland Space is looking to do for the Australian space community and global customers as well. So simple customer access, again, to keep everything simple, we're looking at internet VPN, secure cloud services and the like. So keeping things simple, ultimately trying to simplify things for your program. So Australia geographically as ground segment. So occupies, in broad terms, 10 degrees south to 40 degrees south, and roughly about 40 degrees of longitude. So that's quite a chunk of the Earth. What that translates to is increased opportunities for the number of passes per day, and that geographic diversity leads to, in effect, what you could term as pass diversity, which I think is certainly important for all satellite missions, and in particular for LEOs and some of the CubeSat missions that we've heard about so far in the workshop, and that are existing and also planned and proposed. And so we're seeking to support a myriad of small sat orbits, whether they're inclined in terms of release from the space station or polar type orbits. So just a little bit in the way of background of the company name. So Singuland was inspired by the word singulate. So that's the part of the brain that's involved in learning, memory, and emotional processing. So Singuland Space is looking to be your intelligent ground segment as a service provider, and really looking to partner with you for your mission. Our ground stations, we're currently in a build phase, so we're already investing in Australian small sat ground segment. Our plans are for both fixed and relocatable stations, and we're currently building out and doing testing on the first station, which is a VHF-UHF Yagi arrangement, standard sort of stuff, standard band. And what's coming is S-band and X-band, and we've got eyes on the future use of Ka-band for managing links with small sats. So ultimately, we're looking to be, as your service provider for ground segment, looking to be flexible and responsive. So you don't have to worry about the ins and outs of building and operating ground segment. You can leave that to us to give you that as an assured service. So you would have seen the previous slide, those higher bands, X-band and moving up to Ka band. There's a lot of issues around that in terms of, propagation on the links, regulatory aspects and the like. But in broad terms, those higher bands provide the bandwidth to be able to support what is an increasing appetite for data rate. So a little bit of old data here, 2014 from the Aerospace Corp, but you can see the general trend here in terms of the data rates of CubeSats. And it's really at the bottom of the table there, 1 megabits per second and greater. And that's really where the industry seems to be going. So as an example, we've heard of Planet Labs a few times during the workshop. Planet's Dove CubeSats, DVB-S downlinks, 12 megabits per second. These are the sorts of data rates that are required, to be able to enable the offload of the payload data. If we go back, remember, it's all about the data. Coupled with that will also be an increasing requirement where customers will need to get or desire an access to their spacecraft more than once per orbit. Okay? So the offset to that is otherwise to increase the onboard memory, which you can do, but ultimately, the customers are talking about wanting to get access to the spacecraft more than once per orbit. And the beauty about infrastructure as a service, ground segment as a service, is that it's got the agility and the flexibility to adapt to those changing requirements. That ends up being something that you don't have to put into your program and kind of worry about. Okay, so here's the challenge. It's the data. So what's that word up there? It's the data stupid, right? So really it's all about data. It's timely access to your space-based data is what Singuland Space is looking to do. To support both payload data, so data download, as well as the TT&C to small sats. So we want to be the enabling link in ultimately what is your value chain. Again, the value is whether you're a science mission, running commercial ops with comms, for example, Internet of Things, or whether you're doing research into bus, avionics and boards and the like. And so we're seeking to service the Australian space community as well as global customers. So Singuland Space is looking to let you focus on your core activities. Okay, that way we manage the ground segment for you. We're able to engage on a mission-specific basis or on an ongoing basis on longer-term type activities. And really what we're looking to be able to provide is a secure and stable operational environment for you to then, run your spacecraft and spacecraft payload. A quote here from the Aerospace Corporation. So they found that multiple geographically separated ground stations are very useful for on-orbit checkout, reprogramming, and mission ops. And this comes back to the geographic benefits of Australia in terms of the latitude and longitude that we naturally cover. Really puts us in a terrific position to be able to do this to service past diversity. Standard operations for Singuland Space will look like some of these things. So past scheduling, deconfliction, prioritisation between sites, frequency bands, antennas, those types of things. Ultimately servicing the customer's spacecraft in terms of getting its health and commanding the spacecraft, and downloading the payloads data. So we'll operate and maintain the ground stations, put in place the data backhaul options, so that there's multiple options there in terms of terrestrial and or standard sort of SATCOM, and they'll be secure and redundant to keep the availability high and up. And then options for customer portal as well. So, there's a few different models that we're looking at implementing there where the customers can reach right the way through and kind of like, look at the ability to kind of like check out and book, if you like, time on the station, and then if you like, the other end of the spectrum would be that we can handle, data uploads and things like that on your behalf with the right arrangements. So really, it's the full spectrum of ground segment as a service, so operations maintenance. We bring extensive local knowledge and can also cover off the regulatory side of things. We're also offering what we're calling an R&D socket. Okay, so that gives the ability for customers to come and plug into the ground stations to be able to run maybe not so much the R, but the development and the test side of things. Those sorts of things we have in mind are software-defined radio architectures, specific waveforms that you might be developing, and you know, perhaps looking at that through collaboration and partnering. As I mentioned, we can also cover off the regulatory side of things, so we can consult particular projects and also enable or facilitate, if you want to call it, RADCOM licensing as well. Some other services I wanted to mention that we can offer is we could operate and maintain your LEO's tracking station. Okay, so there's been a number of parties that have spoken about their existing tracking stations. So, for example, to take that burden, if you want to call it, off you, we can come in and baseline and then operate and maintain that station. And you know, one concept that we're talking about is the potential to be able to, if you like, integrate existing tracking stations that are around in Australia at the moment together with our new infrastructure to sort of set up like an Australian, you know, enhanced, if you want to call it, small sat facility. We can provide SATCOM bandwidth services, pretty straightforward stuff, and just as a hook, we can just do standard earth stations as well. So this, the ground segment is very much our bread and butter. We've got a presence across the country, so Perth, Adelaide, Canberra and Sydney. And our expertise, we are a highly experienced team, so our expertise sits across ground segments, SATCOMs, space systems, systems engineering and enterprise architecture and network ops. We have the ability to pluck from our management palette a number of different approaches, so agile, you know, the 80-20 rule, and I'm really a big fan of the do, learn, do cycle, where it makes sense, and we couple that together with standard conventional PM where that makes sense as well. What we're basically bringing is a lot of experience to Australian news space. So I had to double check the date of birth of one of the guys. Just one, but yeah, we sorted that out. So essentially, as you can see, we're a little bit grey-beard, but we've got trusted hands together with fresh talent, and that comes together in Singuland space. So what next? We want to understand what customers want, so certainly from the Australian space community and also from local customers. We're building towards our service launch. We are looking as a hook, we're looking for CubeSat collaboration as well, so there's some crazy ideas that we've got in that space. But coming back to ground segment as a service, we're definitely looking forward to talking to you. So if people, we're open to partnerships and we're seeking customers, so please come find us. There's a couple of other guys from the team here as well, so you can come and talk to us. And thank you. So the prize then, the challenge and prize is, on your way out, you'll see out in the foyer there's a bunch of company promotional material. Your challenge is to take one for yourself and two for each of your kids, because I really don't want to carry that back. So please, thank you.
Good talk. I know we got lunch coming up, but a couple of questions. Bill.
Keith, great talk. I noticed all your presence is in effectively southern Australia. Do you have plans to put anything up north, or do you feel that that's not really needed at this stage because you're going to have most of it's going to be an inclined orbit or some centered orbit pass?
Yeah, gotcha. And so we want to enable flexibility by having a relocatable station. So if there was a particular customer requirement to be less south, we could push that north, and then ultimately it comes to be able to maximise the pass opportunities. So for the inclined orbit, you know, you push further south, and you'll get a greater opportunity in terms of pass time. But yeah, we certainly could go north if required. Yes, it depends on what the customers want. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.